Welcome to Muggles and Mocha, everybody. We are back to talk about the next 2 chapters of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I'm super excited. I'm even wearing this dress today. I chose it specifically for this video because it was called Mocha and Ivory, so I'm 110% ready for this video. So let's get started. If you're new here, you have stumbled upon a book club that is connected to my editing website, MadisonKdarby.com. I provide editing services for authors looking to publish their books, and I also have this fun little Harry Potter book club that is run from that website as well. I make videos every week and articles, and you should check out this week's as well. It is posted below. And if you enjoy, follow me on social media. I am on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, obviously. So yeah, subscribe there and you can keep updated with any new material we have coming out or news. I have my coffee for today. You can see it. It is in these wonderful travel mugs that I got recently, and this is the top. And it's hazelnut coffee, which is my absolute favorite. So the more you know. So like I said, today we're covering 2 chapters again. Oh my goodness, I need to stop doing this to myself, you guys, because I'm gonna be speed talking, like going fast, but Quidditch is hard to talk about for a long time, okay? And I just wanted to move on. So we're gonna be covering chapters 13 and 14 today. First, I do want to tell you a little bit about the article I wrote for this week. It's all about the real Nicholas Flamel, who actually was a real person. And I also kind of cover a little bit about the legend of the Philosopher's Stone and its appearance in literature and things like that. So, like I said, check that out. It is located down in the description box. And I actually go into a little bit the reason for the name change that the Harry Potter books did. So as a lot of you probably know, it's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone in England, but it is Sorcerer's Stone in America. So if you want to know why, check out the article. But for our video today, we're going to be covering a lot of stuff that happens to Harry and the gang. So let's get started. This coffee isn't as good as I thought it was going to be, but it's okay. So in this chapter, like I said, we get more Quidditch, and I've seen a lot of people commenting about how they like that a fictional sport is included in these books, and I do too. I think it really lightens the mood, and that J.K. Rowling uses it as a good distraction for Harry throughout the year. So like in this instance, think about this. We go from the Mirror of Erised and all of the heavy stuff that happens in that chapter to a chapter about Quidditch, and I think it's a good transition to just see Harry enjoying something that like a normal wizard kid would look forward to. For this particular game, we find out that Snape is refereeing. A terrible decision. Did Snape even play Quidditch at Hogwarts? What was the meaning of this? What? He just doesn't seem like a Quidditch fan, okay? And of course, everyone's horrified, especially the Gryffindor team, but important note, before the game, our trio finally figures out who Nicholas Flamel is from a chocolate frog card introduced at the beginning of the book. And from there, they read more about him and find out about the Sorcerer's Stone, and they pretty much nail down that this is what Fluffy is guarding, that is hidden in Hogwarts, almost stolen from Gringotts. They finally decided what it is. So we make our way into the shortest Quidditch match ever. But it's exciting, you know? We have the beginning of the slow rise of Neville Longbottom throughout the series. Like, we always, you know, I think in the first couple of books, Neville's someone that we and the narrator and Harry make fun of and they think little of. And Neville just blossoms into such a strong character, strong-willed, determined man. I love some character development. So what I'm talking about in this scene is how Neville jumps into the fight with Malfoy, Crabbe, and Goyle. Of course, Ron is the one who starts it because he's the one who gets mad. But Neville, he hesitates, but he jumps in there. He ends up in the hospital wing, unconscious, and, you know, really shows him who's boss. And Harry catches the snitch They win the game. Besides the crew learning the identity of Nicholas Flamel in this chapter, Harry also overhears a very important conversation between Snape and Quirrell. And I always wonder, which maybe I'll find out at the end, because it's been a while and I'm finding that I'm discovering things that I forgot or overlooked, you know, stuff like that. I always wonder what all Dumbledore and whoever was involved in suspecting Quirrell knew about Quirrell and his intentions, because they obviously think that he is trying to steal the Sorcerer's Stone. I guess they've noticed strange behavior. I mean, we know this is his first year teaching at the school, and people would have known him before this anyway, before he went on his venture to Albania and met Voldemort. So I wonder if like he is acting different than he would have before this book. We don't know Quirrell before this. We don't know anything before this since it's the first book. But you get the point. Like, maybe Quirrell is acting strange and different than how he did before. But they obviously suspect Quirrell because Snape is acting on Dumbledore's orders here. And we know he is probing for information. And so I guess like the plan with Snape doing this is that they would want Quirrell to originally think that Snape could be an ally if he was trying to steal it. But then when that wasn't working, maybe like made Snape his enemy, because like I understand Harry's confusion here, because the way the interaction sounds, it sounds like Quirrell is kind of working for Snape and Snape is threatening him. Like Quirrell is getting him information and that's what Snape wants him to do. I don't know. I just wish I knew more of the ins and outs of the plan to figure out what's going on with Quirrell, because it's just weird. Like, I feel bad for Harry overhearing this conversation because it is pretty condemning of Snape. So with this conversation, the gang is pretty set on thinking Snape is after Nicholas Flamel's creation, the Sorcerer's Stone. So there's chapter 13 for you. So now, we get into chapter 14, which is all about Norbert, the Norwegian Ridgeback, but I want to rename this chapter Mistakes Were Made. On everyone's part. This chapter is just a huge mistake after mistake after mistake. Like, I was really laughing as I reviewed this chapter getting ready for this video because I was like, what even is happening here? So, we start with the good old frantic studying that comes with Hogwarts life. And the kids are studying for their exams, which are 10 weeks away. Goodness. I mean, I guess they're really hard. I have never studied 10 weeks in advance for school exams. I just committed. We witness Hagrid acting suspiciously. Nothing really new there. And we first see him in the library checking out some books about dragons, as we find out. And the gang is going to his cabin to learn more about the Sorcerer's Stone. And also probe to figure out what is going on. So they ask Hagrid what else is guarding the stone based on what Harry learned from Quirrell and Snape's conversation. It seemed like there's more things guarding the stone, which we know there are. Hagrid does tell them that other teachers have contributed to this protection process, but he doesn't know what's in place. From there, they discover Hagrid's secret. He has a dragon egg, which is something he's always wanted. And of course we know how this plays into the story. The stranger who gave it to Hagrid was Quirrell. And he was looking for information about Fluffy, but still, Hagrid's just so excited. And it warms my heart because Hagrid is just always looking to take care of the creatures that everyone thinks are too dangerous. And he just views them as like fluffy little puppies, and I don't know, it's a very lovable trait, even though it gets him and the kids into so much trouble. Like, so much trouble. So mistake number one, even though I love Norbert, you know, as Hermione points out, he's living in a wooden house, so come on. We get the birth of Norbert, or Norberta, as we learn in the 7th book. Norbert is a girl. But Malfoy sees. He sees Norbert being born because he overhears a conversation between the gang. And it's like, be cautious. I guess they were surprised. No. Malfoy, he is sneaky and he has very white hair. I don't feel like he can be hidden. He is conspicuous. I don't know what I'm saying, okay, but I just think people need to be more careful. Poor Hagrid has to give them up. But they do decide to send it to Ron's brother Charlie, who works with dragons in Romania. Honestly, I wish we had more Charlie in the books. He's so cool. And I mean, we don't really get him at all in the movies. Is he in any of the movies? Like, actually? Oh God. I mean, I know he's mentioned in the movies, but that's a crime. But it's been so long since I've read the books, I can't really remember how often he's mentioned there or how often we actually get to physically read about him or see him. You know what I mean. But we need more Charlie. And if you have ever played the app game, Harry Potter Hogwarts Mystery, you can get it from the App Store. Charlie is in it. And in this game, you make your character and you basically like play your experience through Hogwarts. It's really fun, all right? Like, I enjoy it. But both Charlie and Bill are in there, and they're super cool in that game because you're at Hogwarts with them and whatever. Check out the app. It's very fun. You know, it's probably a good thing Hagrid sends Norbert away. No, not even probably. It's good because that dragon, what would Hagrid have even done with it after a while? I don't think he thought that far ahead because it gets really dangerous and it even bites Ron. So, yeah, it's a good thing that they made this plan. They've reached out to Charlie. He's going to come pick him up. But then, another mistake. Ron, I can't even... Okay, so Ron is in the hospital wing, and Malfoy basically comes to gloat under the guise of borrowing a book from him, and Ron actually does let him borrow a book, and the letter from Charlie is in it. Like, Ron! What? Mistakes were made. I don't know what they were doing in this chapter. They just lost it. It was the exam stress. The 10-week away exam stress was just hurting him bad. So now Malfoy knows about the plan too. Some time passes before they take Norbert, which I'm sure was like the worst weeks of their life as they prepare to do this, you know, with Malfoy having the information to hold this over their head. But the night that Harry and Hermione take him, I've got to admit, I'm so impressed with their physical strength. Like, he's big at this point, that would be super heavy, and it's a long trek up to the tallest tower at Hogwarts, and they're under the invisibility cloak, which I wish I could like see how big this cloak is, and it would give me a better understanding of like how, like, do they need to crouch at this point? Are they tall enough? Do they trip over it? Okay, people, you know, like when you wear long dresses, the material can get up under your feet if you're not like kicking it. You gotta kick it out. Kick walk is basically what you're doing. Do they need to do that with the invisibility cloak? How big is it? I just want to know. I need a picture so that I can see the ratio of how big this is to an 11-year-old child. 2 kids. But whatever. I'm super impressed with Harry and Hermione for carrying this huge crate up the stairs. We get a brief glimpse of happiness as Malfoy gets caught trying to catch them, and we see him getting punished by McGonagall. It is a brief, short-lived period of joy because we know what happens next. So they do make it to the top of the tower. They're successful in their mission. They get it to Charlie's friends. And on the subject of Norbert, Norberto, whatever, I kind of wish that the dragon came back later in the book. I mean, we get a mention, like I said, in the 7th book, so we know that, like, Norbert's okay and that she is, I don't know, living her best life in Romania. But I just wish we could have seen her somehow. Like, maybe one of the dragons brought for the Triwizard Tournament. Maybe that's cruel. I don't know. I just kind of wish we could have seen her again. And then you guys, you all know what happens. They leave the cloak on top of the tower. Like, they're just bopping down the stairs. No cloak. And Filch is just standing there. And mistakes were made. That's just all we need to learn from this chapter. Just mistakes. over and over and over. But that brings us to the chapter we're going to be covering next week, chapter 15. And y'all, after I read this chapter, I've realized I think it's one of my favorites in the books. And the article for the next week is going to be pretty intense as well. We're going to be talking about fate and the centaurs and what Mars's bright tonight will mean for Harry and the gang in later years, and just what all's going on there. And we also get to talk about the Forbidden Forest, the weirdest punishment ever. So check in next week and we will talk about that. Wow, I got through those chapters pretty fast. I'm proud of myself. Oh my goodness, guys, I realized I forgot to bring out the rant stick. Oh gosh, I have to get it off of the bookshelf every week, so I forgot, but I'll just hold it while I say mistakes were made one more time, and that'll just show you how I feel. So if you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and feel free to subscribe to my channel so you can be notified when new videos are released. Like I said earlier, I'm available on social media, and all of that you can find through my website, which I have linked below. And I guess that's all we have for today. But before we leave, we do have the last paragraph of the chapter, which I read every week. And this one is just gonna make us mad. So here we go. They slipped back down the spiral staircase, their hearts as light as their hands now that Norbert was off them. No more dragon, Malfoy in detention. What could spoil their happiness? Oh dear. The answer to that was waiting at the foot of the stairs. As they stepped into the corridor, Filch's face loomed suddenly out of the darkness. That is such a frightening image. Like, I can just really see that. Well, 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 he whispered. We are in trouble. They'd left the invisibility cloak on top of the tower. End of chapter. So yeah, thanks for tuning in today. Read chapter 15 in preparation for next week while we go into the Forbidden Forest and chase a unicorn and find a scary Quirrell Voldemort crawling man. Yeah. Without a doubt, the scariest scene in Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone when I was younger. So, we're gonna cover it next week. So, thank you for tuning in to Muggles and Mocha this week. I will see you next time. See if I can do this. Oh,